John, has the club made a decision on Heath?
Yeah, we're going to challenge. So Dean Moore, our footy manager, and Heath are on their way to Melbourne today, so they'll go down and challenge this evening. Well, it's a bit difficult to comment, obviously, before the case this evening. So it makes it hard for me to comment now. But we think we've got a case, and it'll pan out this evening during the course. Oh, it's just something you deal with. It's a reality of playing football, is that these things happen, and you've got to be a resilient group and being able to adjust to them, whether things go our way this evening or not. And our players have, a number of our players are pretty experienced and have played a number of finals games, and the reality is you just deal with what you're confronted with, and that's what we'll do this evening. Yeah, Sam Reid and Nick Smith, we both expect to do some training today. So they mightn't do the whole session, but they'll certainly do some training today, and both are at this stage planning to do the full session on Thursday. And obviously, if they do the full session Thursday, they'll both come into the team. Yeah, mainly we used Walsh last week because of Reid out. So that was really a like-for-like type situation. We've been pleased with, even though Mitch hasn't played huge roles in our seniors, he's been doing some good things for us as well. So we've still got a couple of options that we can use in our forward line. A bit of that depends upon what happens at the tribunal, obviously, as well. Oh, they're good, two quality players. You've got two big blokes in the forward line that that have played a fair bit of footy together now, and Walker has been in fantastic form. We know that Tippett's a real focal point for them up forward as well. Ian Callinan's kicked 38 goals as a small forward, so they've got some real firepower in their front half. They're very effective when they get the ball in there, especially when they start winning their clearances, which they're number one in the competition are doing. So they'll take some beating if they get access to it, particularly from the midfield. Well, I think Adam's last game against Adelaide here was pretty good. I think he kicked 4 or 5 and played well as a forward. So that's in our mind as well. But I think Adam's always going to play his best. I've said it before that he'll play a number of different roles, and that's probably when he's playing his best, when we're able to use him in the midfield and use him forward. And that's probably what we'll look at this week as well, that he can play a couple of different roles for us, and whether that's midfield and forward, and the percentage of both is really yet to be determined according to the game a little bit. And I think that's the beauty of having a bloke like him, and to be able to move in different positions where we need him. Their midfield, if you look at Jacobs, Dangerfield, Thompson, they're probably 3 starters in an All-Australian midfield, really. So they've got some absolute quality and class in that part of the ground, and that is our biggest challenge, I think, this week going to Adelaide, is making sure that we reduce their input and their influence, but also making sure we play the sort of footy that we want to play from the midfield area in particular, and that's our that's in front of us this week, is to be able to do that against real quality and a team in form. And we think our midfield's been pretty good this year over the majority of the year. We think it's been a real strength of ours, and that's where probably the game will be determined, in that part of the ground. Yeah, we understand we get judged by wins and losses, but not every time you win are you completely wrapped with the game, and not every time you lose there's nothing you got out of it. And I think that when you look at the games in isolation, I think that certainly Collingwood and Hawthorn in particular, you're right in the game into the last 2 minutes. So it's not as if you look at those games and say, our form's poor, because I think anyone that saw those games would understand that they were played at finals-like intensity, and both teams had a real crack in them. So we've been reasonably confident that sort of footy will stand up, and that's the sort of footy we'll need to play in the next couple of weeks, is to make sure that we maintain that sort of strength over 4 quarters, which we did it for probably 2.5 against Geelong. We know that's not good enough.